Hey everyone, this is Johnny G and friends from Pana Vista Records. Tonight we have a very special guest from Salina, Kansas, Mr. Tom Wilbur. Tommy, how are you doing today? Everything going well?
Hello, my brother. Nice to talk to you.
It's great talking to you. We want to let our audience know that we're doing this by FaceTime, and so this is a first for us, so we hope that it comes out pretty well, and we'll see what happens, and if it doesn't, then we'll try something else. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me, the non-visual FaceTime.
Oh, we'll do it. So Tom is one of my greatest friends of all time. We grew up together. We played basketball against each other in grade school and then played with each other at basketball team in middle school and then in high school, and went on to be roommates in college. This man is I would say the most influential man musically for me. Tom owned Wilbur Sound Production, and he had a studio that he allowed me to record in, and he taught me a lot of things about recording and about singing and playing guitar and things of that nature. And to this day, truthfully, Tom, I don't think there'd be a Johnny G and Friends records and stuff if it weren't for you. So I thank you publicly for that, and I'm so happy you're on the show today.
Well, I think you're giving me a little too much credit, JG. I mean, the bottom line on the deal is you love to write. You're a very good writer. You write about relationships, and you write about love, and you write about things you experience. You've written things about the Lord, and across various different spectrums, we've had an opportunity to kind of engage in things together, share ideas. We've recorded together, sometimes on tape, sometimes with me behind the board, or my partner, Don Schwartz, who I owned the recording studio with for a number of years. But the bottom line is it's just a wonderful thing to be able to share creative thoughts and ideas. And once you've written a song, it's kind of your gift to the world, and no matter where you are and where you go.
Yeah, that's a cool thing about writing, whether you write a book or an article in a newspaper or magazine, or if you're an artist and do a painting or a song, it's yours. And
right. We've
talked about that before, and they can't take that away from you, which I think is a wonderful thing about being creative. Tom, I'm going to ask you, what were your musical influences?
Well, there's no question that the Beatles were the most profound impact musically on my life. I have a very diverse taste in music. I literally have purchased thousands and thousands of songs over the years, and they range all the way from the classic rock stuff that we played in our band for the past 39 years to very contemporary things, including contemporary gospel and worship, a lot of really avant-garde stuff. You'd be surprised if you heard, were engaged in some of the music I listen to. It's pretty strange. And of course, I've written electronic music as well.
Yeah, you had a band, or at least it was you. It was called Bing Bang Bong.
That's
and
right.
I just loved it, man. You would send me some excerpts from it, and even at one point I thought maybe I could write some words for this, and you just said, hey, go ahead, JG. But I never got around to doing it. But I'd like to get into talking about your band, the Last National Band, and I know started with a friend of yours, but you also included your wife Marlis on keyboards and vocals. So can you tell us about the Last National Band? By the way, to let people know, you shared the marquee with bands like Kansas, Molly Hatchet, and Foghat. You guys have played hundreds and hundreds of shows. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, and one of the favorite bands we ever played with on stage together, we did several shows with them, were the Fabulous Flippers.
Oh, man.
60s. They were a band from the 60s, and in the 90s we got them to reform, and we did several shows with them, including a New Year's Eve show. And I think one of my favorite things that I ever did was play Midnight Hour with those guys at midnight at our New Year's show. But my band career really started with the Beatles in the fourth grade, and I started a band in the fourth grade. We had one guy that had an amplifier that was built in his case, and so we plugged into that. I mean, it was from Sears. So I had a band in fourth grade, and then in fifth and sixth grade, I had a band called the Chargers, and then one called the Challengers, which is funny because I drive a Challenger today. And then in seventh and eighth grade, we had a band called the Night Raiders, and I think you actually sang with us.
Oh, I tell you what, you guys were great. I was just a guest singer one time, I think. But you and I hung around with Tom Roderick and Jeff Wilson, and we were all just so close friends, and those memories and the things that we did. And I had so much fun. And, those days you just never forget. And we had the same like minds. We loved music. We loved sports, things of that nature. And I know that, do you remember I don't know if you won or not, but you sang Sunny in one of the talent shows, man.
Yeah, after the seventh and eighth grade, the Night Raiders kind of disbanded, and so I did a couple of little solo things and stuff. And performance has always been a part of my life. In high school, we were so involved in athletics, I really didn't do much. But when I got out of college and came back to nestle in Salina, I was in community theater. I had a number of roles involved with that, and then we had the recording studio, and then in 1980 we started the Last National Band as kind of a joke for a Christmas party at the bank where we all worked at. And it just so happened that my friend Von Mineo had played for the band called the Sawyers in the 60s. He and his brother had a band, and I think tuition at K-State was $75 a semester back there, and they would make $75 a night. And so that's how he paid his way through college. Well, one day I invited him over to my house just to play guitars just for the fun of it. And we had so much fun playing. We said, we ought to form a group and play in the breaks of the regular band at our big Christmas party. And so Marlis, we put her on keys. We had a friend, Jim Van Emberg, who couldn't play anything, but we put him on cowbell. And
that's great, man. More cowbell.
Too fun, man. And we went to the Christmas party. When the regular band stopped, we played at the break. And people were going crazy. We were wearing Blues Brothers hats and sunglasses and ties and such. And so they got to the second break, and we went up and played the same three songs. It was all we really knew. We got together after that, and we said, hey, that was way too fun, and people haven't really heard 60s music for a while because it was 1980. So we just kept going, and we were together for 39 years, and we played some gigs where there were 5 or 6 people there, and then some larger conferences, statewide conferences here in Kansas that would have 3,000 or 4,000 people. And then we also played the River Festival in front of like 11,000, 12,000 people.
That's fantastic.
On Thursday night. So it was really fun. I got to do it because Marlis was in the band to keep me out of trouble for a long time.
Yeah, I think she's kept you out of trouble for like 45 years, maybe?
Yeah, it's right at 46.
46 years.
A little over 46 years. So
congratulations.
So anyways, it's been a great ride. And playing in a band and performance is such a fun thing, but we didn't have to do it for a living and do the kind of grind that the guys at Kansas and Boghat and Mollihatchet do. They were incredibly successful and great performers, but Foghat, the night we played with them, they had a set list of like 5 songs, and it's their 5 best songs. And as they walked by, they're about 4 feet tall, and I'm like 6'6", and they'd walk by and they'd go, hey, blokes, how are you? And they just trot on stage, and they get their hair blown out a little bit, and for 45 minutes they play their 5 big hits, or 40 minutes or so, and then they go on to the next side. But all those guys are tremendously talented, and but they're really owned by the road. It's a thing that they have to live and breathe, and day after day, go up and down the road with a bunch of guys, and it's not the greatest life.
Well, it's very tough, and musicians know that, especially musicians that want to be successful and want to be known and get their stuff out there. I know my dad had some really good talks with me because he knew how much I loved music, but he just kind of said, don't quit your day job. Keep your day job, and you have other things like in the evenings or weekends or the summers. I was a teacher for 44 years, and he said, you can work on your music, and it's a good hobby, and if something goes from that, great, but you've at least made a good living, and you can live at least. It's not so wear and tear on your family and friends.
I think as an artist, in terms of writing, what you're trying to connect on a particular level with your audience, and at the end of the night, if you can be uplifting and bring them a little bit of joy and stuff, that's what my performance has always been about. And I know the same is true for you. And
yes,
your years of teaching and the influences that you've had with your kids and music and the tremendous work that you've done. I mean, CD after CD after CD, you've just been relentless with it. And on my side of the deal was really less about writing, although I've written quite a bit, but the bottom line was more about performance and that immediate gratification you get when someone comes up and says, "You guys are the greatest band in America," even if they've had a few beers.
Well, I tell you what, I know I mentioned this early in the broadcast that, you had such a great influence on me, but I just want to make sure, and I know you do because we're such good friends, but again, you just don't know the impact. Allowing me to record and learn the tricks of recording, it just carried with me throughout my entire life. It gave me an opportunity to share the music and to, like you said, it's really fun when someone else is touched by your music. We had a podcast with Brett, my son, who helped, co-found really the band here and get it started again. And Brett was such an influence on me because he would encourage me at a time where, I would just kind of sit around and wasn't doing anything with the songs and stuff. And he would encourage me by saying stuff like, "Hey, that's really cool," or something of that nature. And you were always there to say, "We can record this. Let's do it." And we recorded so many things. And I remember the first time we recorded, you brought a 4-track over to my home, and I had written a Christmas song, or actually a family love song about my family to my dad, mom, my brother, and my sister, and you recorded that, and it was just really special, So I can't tell you how much I appreciate your friendship.
I played it for them. They enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's cool.
But,
Go ahead.
What are you gonna play for us tonight?
Well, I thought you and I had recorded on a couple of songs together. One was "Love and Sweet Understanding," and you sang on that, sang some vocals, which were great vocals. And then "Shine on Me," which you and I played some percussion in the background. It was your idea. You go, "Hey, I'm going to play some sticks," and I got a bongos that you had in the studio. And that's the cool thing about, playing in, a studio like yours and like ours at Panna Vista Records. You can do quite a few fun things, and it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg.
It was a lot of fun, and that was actually a long time ago, so it'll be interesting to hear those cuts again. But I really appreciate you having me on the show, and you know how much I love you, brother, and good luck in all your podcasts and continued music.
Hey, well, thank you. And Tommy, thanks so much for being a part and coming on today. We at Panna Vista Records really appreciate your friendship. One thing before we go, let's mention about our visit with our good friend, Tom Roddick, who just passed away recently. We grew up with him playing music and sports and so forth. And unfortunately, he passed away just this last year, or early this year, I think. And go ahead.
We tried older to be with him, and while he was available to converse, one of the fun things we did was to sit down and play guitars together.
Yeah, how cool was that? And we all just got to play guitars, and enjoy and share the things that we loved together, which was music.
And then past that, you and I rekindled our friendship in so many different ways, just sharing things about what's going on in our lives and our family and being real honest about things. And I don't know that there's been 2 days that have passed since that time that you and I haven't spoken, which has solidified our friendship. But between, Tom Roderick and Jeff Wilson, we had Mike Guernsey was a drummer for us and stuff.
Yeah, he was great.
He's a great little drummer. But I mean, the bottom line is, life's full of great experiences and relationships, and I've tried to live my life to be a servant leader and to try to help people along the way and try to lift other people up. And sometimes you miss that mark, but that's my attempt every day.
To me, you have certainly done that your whole life.
Well, thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, great to be on, and thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you, all of our listeners out there. Today's 2 songs are Love and Sweet Understanding and Shine on Me. They are from the For Janet CD.
I've got it at an early age, love and sweet understanding. I've got it, so don't you turn the page. Every moment I spend with you is a moment added to my life. Love and sweet understanding, that's what we need every day. Love and sweet understanding. Love and sweet understanding, that's what we need every day. Love and sweet understanding. I need it in oh so many ways, love and sweet understanding. I need it, so don't you turn the page. Every moment I spend with you is a moment added to my life. Love and sweet understanding, that's what we need every day. Love and sweet understanding. Love and sweet understanding, that's what we need every day. Love and sweet understanding. wanted. Bright up and light it up with you. And I think you see that every time I look at you, I see the stars. They come out in your eyes. And I do believe that every time